All right, so welcome. We here with Lori Albanos. Did I say that right, Lori?
You did. You did.
All
Yep.
right. So we're speaking today about moving and investing in Florida. So particular Canadians. Some of the things we're going to talk about today are going to be what she does, her kind of a needs analysis. We're going to go through some really great questions. And so if you're a Canadian and you're thinking about downsizing or moving to Florida, buying an investment property in Florida, Lori is an absolute expert. And so, Lori, tell us about yourself.
Let's see. I'm also a KW agent, like you are. Oh, that's my alarm telling me that I'm meeting with you. Sorry about that.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Let's see. I am a mom first and foremost. I've got three kiddos, but they're mostly grown up. They're 25, 22, and I do still have a 15-year-old at home. And I have been in Florida since 2008, but I have also lived in New York and Atlanta. So I've got that whole north to south experience, and I have experienced snow, just not in a very long time. Nor have I worn a jacket in a very long time. It's always a struggle on a cold day to find a jacket.
That must be nice. We have about 6 months of winter here, so I'm sure that this is resonating with people who live here. Would be liking to see maybe nicer weather and also being in Florida potentially for a vacation home. So,
Sure.
where do people usually go when they go to Florida? Where are they moving from, and why maybe invest in Florida or maybe move to Florida?
Sure. Well, in the past, and I think you and I have discussed this, the majority of the people that were moving or buying in the areas that I serve on the West Coast were coming from the Midwest. A lot of them were coming from the Midwest and Canada. Now we're seeing people coming from everywhere. It's not just one place anymore. In the last 2 years, I've sold 3 homes to people from California. I've sold a home to people from Hawaii, many people from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. Those used to be sort of the more the anomaly than the rule. It was more Midwesterners and Canadians, but now they're coming from everywhere.
Everywhere. So things have opened up. I mean, price points were really good. So that kind of thing. And can you tell us about the areas that you service in?
Sure. Yeah. So I live in Naples and I serve Naples, Bonita Springs, which is the city just to the north of Naples, Estero, which is the city just to the north of that, and Marco Islands are primarily the areas that I serve. I can also do North Fort Myers into Cape Coral, but primarily my business is Naples, Bonita Springs, Estero, and Marco.
Okay, awesome. And why is it important for someone to consider maybe purchasing in Florida, whether it's an investment property or downsizing, retiring? Who is this for?
I'm sorry, I'm not following.
Yeah, like who? Like what would be the I guess the people that are buying in Florida? What would be a great reason for them to maybe retire in Florida, or maybe purchase a home in Florida or an investment property like a vacation property in Florida?
Sure. Well, I mean, the main reason I think most Canadians are coming here is for our weather, to escape the snow up north. I don't know if there are other things that they are escaping in Canada. Other than that, I've only heard good things about Canada. So as far as I know, they're mostly coming for our weather, probably from what I've heard of your housing economy, that our homes are more or were maybe more affordable here than what you can get for your dollar amount in Canada. Over the last 2 years, people have been moving here for a number of reasons. Some of it has been political. Mm-hmm. That has certainly opened up rules about COVID in other parts of our country. Certainly has driven a lot of people to move to Florida. I know we had 1 year where our Canadian friends didn't come because the border wasn't open. And that was definitely weird that our Canadian friends weren't here for 1 year. And then also, now that people realize they can work remotely, and they were looking at their housing taxes and, the size home that they were able to afford to live in, they realized they could live anywhere, and why not live where it's summer year round and you could be near the beach, and the homes were a lower price point. Our property taxes are lower than most of our northern states. And we also don't have state income tax, which if you're still employed, that's a huge raise. That's a big deal.
Wow. And yeah, I know you said there too, like, I mean, lower taxes, price points are definitely still attractive. What are your average price points? I know our average detached in KW is about 1.1. So it's definitely going to be a good opportunity for people retiring and cashing out here. What are your average price points over there?
Well, when people are talking about
Roughly.
Naples, I hate to just give you an average price point. Yes, I could dig into our MLS and tell you what the average price point is for our MLS, but it's very, it would be deceptive
Right.
because Naples, Bonita Springs, our whole area is very neighborhood
Neighborhood.
dependent, not even area of Naples,
Right.
but neighborhood dependent. You know, just for example of how
Mhm.
diverse it is, my neighborhood is single family homes. They run probably from 600 to 1.4 million.
Okay.
And I've got condos behind me that are in the $300,000 to $500,000 range. Actually, they're townhomes. And down the road from me, you can't get in that neighborhood for under $3.5 to $4 million. So it is very neighborhood specific. It's not
Right.
area
Makes
specific
sense.
or
Makes sense. Makes sense. And it is like it's good that you're really focused on those neighborhoods. And you mentioned also that you work with a lot of people that are retiring and selling, maybe downsizing their lifestyle and moving to Florida. What would be a few big benefits to them? And when you speak to those people, what are the reasons that they're coming to Florida that are downsizing and retiring, to live there?
What's funny is a lot of times they're not downsizing. They're buying great big old homes here, which surprises me. But I think they're, thinking of their future. They're starting to think about children and grandchildren. I hear a lot about, well, when the grandbabies come, and they want to have room and a pool so that, grandma and grandpa's house makes a great destination for winter break and spring break for everyone to come. So they're actually not necessarily downsizing. Some of them are buying bigger homes than the ones that they live in up north, and are living larger down here. But, when I'm talking to somebody that is moving to Naples, especially for retirement, a change of life type of time, especially if they haven't been in Naples and experienced Naples, what I talk to them about is lifestyle. So it's a very long conversation when I ask what types of things they think they'll be doing in their retirement, what types of activities they want to participate in, what types of things they like to do outside of their community. Really helps me narrow down where I suggest they look and what I show them. Naples is a bigger city geographically than most people understand. So there are a lot of different areas to Naples, and we get plenty of people that want to move down here for the sunshine, but aren't necessarily interested in the beach. So that opens up other areas for them to look. We've got avid golfers, we've got avid pickleballers, we've got some people that don't want any of the above and just want to, live in a home and not be bothered by a homeowners association. So it's a long conversation to kind of pinpoint what the best opportunities for them would be.
Absolutely. And let's kind of talk about that too. What are some questions that you would ask in a deep dive conversation with someone who's thinking about investing into Florida, maybe moving to Florida and retiring, or upsizing or downsizing, or just moving for a different lifestyle? What are some questions that you'd ask to really nail down, what would be important to them?
Sure. Well, I mean, first I kind of, divide them. Are these people that are younger people being relocated for a job, and are schools important to them? Then that's a whole other topic, of course, because then you have to live, or most likely you're going to live where you want your child to go to school. If you're an investor, I start to talk to you about, is this a property that you will be using part-time, or is strictly an investment property? Because if it's strictly an investment property, we want to remove the emotion from that and get down to cost. And I'm going to talk to you about our neighborhoods that have the lowest carrying costs.
Okay.
If you're an investor who plans to use it part-time, then of course you're going to want it to meet your needs as well, and emotion will play a part in it. But if it's going to be your only full and part-time home, you're not going to be renting it out, then what I really want to know about is your lifestyle. I don't think you have communities in Canada like we do here, but we've got communities that have from no amenities up to Disney World type amenities, country clubs, restaurants on site, as I said, pickleball, golf, multiple golf courses, sometimes multiple restaurants, spas, all of the above. And it's really what somebody is planning to do in their time. If you're going to use all those things, great. There is, then spend your fees on those. If those aren't things you're going to partake in, of course, it's not worth it to have those annual homeowners association fees and buy or build in a neighborhood like that. So it really depends on your lifestyle and what you want your lifestyle to be.
I see. And let's say, you're talking to someone who's buying in a vacation property. Can you think of the last example you've done where you've let them know roughly, here's what you're going to get as far as your rent for, your occupancy, your vacancy, your rent roughly, if you have rough ideas of maybe a previous example you did?
Again, that's where it gets a little bit tricky in Naples, right? Because not all of our neighborhoods are rental friendly. Okay. People that live in a year-round neighborhood, they don't want their neighborhoods to be VRBOs. They don't want people coming in and out. So that's why those distinguish, to distinguish between those things is really important. Rentals can be, anywhere from, $1,500 a month to $20,000 to $30,000 a month, depending on, or week, or depending on where it is. If we're talking about a Gulf front home with a dock in the backyard, a 4-bedroom home, that could run $35,000 a month for a rental. Typically, people want to come that are renting here and rent either January, February, March are the most popular months, and a lot of people want all 3 of those months. So it really, again, it's very neighborhood dependent on what they're getting versus the cost.
And there is a good resource to AirDNA. People can check out if they're interested in like Airbnb and different prices and stats. You can find out occupancy rates and average price for a different home, whether it's a condo or a certain bedroom in a neighborhood. So I think you could subscribe to that. And if you guys have questions, we can definitely get that answered for you for sure.
Yeah.
So how is the market right now? And when's the best time to jump into the market in your area?
I know it, it sounds like maybe a lame answer, but the best time to jump into the market is right now. We're coming to the end of our, what we call season here. It has nothing to do with the weather so much as our season of, when our visitors are coming. The most popular months for people to spend down here are January through Easter. So whenever Easter is that year. And then we typically see the place empty out. It's almost magic. Like one day they're all here, the next day they're gone. And so right now I'm starting to see where in certain neighborhoods where we only had maybe one home for sale at a time, and they would sell in, under 24 hours up to 3 days. Now in certain neighborhoods, I am starting to see a higher buildup of homes for sale than I had seen in the last year and a half. I don't know how long that's going to last, and it doesn't apply to every neighborhood. To me, it's right now anyway, it's looking more like neighborhoods that have people who don't use their homes full time, that were just using it seasonally and have decided, it's the end of the season. Let me see what I can get for my money, get for my house now. And they're trying to put it on the market. But honestly, they may have waited a few minutes too late, which is going to be to the buyer's advantage at the moment.
Okay, awesome. So it's good for buyers. And it's fair to say, too, that if they're renting in an area where you are able to rent, a neighborhood-friendly area to rent, they are still able to get pretty good rents for the most part and get people in, and the vacancy is pretty decent there. Is that fair?
There's not enough rentals for the number of people that want to rent here, people that live here full time and people that want to visit. People are renting right now. They're making their arrangements for 2023. Oh, wow. And yeah. So usually there are a lot of people that come and stay at the same place for 10, 15 years. They just keep going back to the same place. So they usually give their renters their current renters the first right of refusal for the next year. People that waited until November and December and that were calling and looking for rentals, it was very hard to find anything at all. I mean, we were mobbed. There just wasn't anything available, and rental, prices had gone up quite a bit.
Makes sense. Thanks so much for your time, Lori. And
sure.
I would say what we'll do is we'll make sure that we have a link for anybody here to click on. Our goal is to get you guys not only a custom home valuation here in Canada, if you are either using that equity to buy in Florida as a vacation home, what that means for you and your family, or retire down there, and you can speak to Lori about that. I think it's also important that Lori will go through a needs analysis with you to understand what would be important about purchasing Florida, moving to Florida, upsizing, retiring, whatever your goals are. Before we go, Lori, what are one or two things that people should know that they make a common mistake when they buy in Florida or they decide to move here? What are some things that they should look out for?
Just assuming that they're familiar with the area, if they, based on what they've heard from other people. When I have people come down thinking that, a certain price range will get them everything that they want. So definitely be open-minded when you come down, listen to, what I have to share with you about our city. Naples is beautiful. And when I talk about Naples, it really encompasses, I said, that whole area, Naples, Bonita Springs, Marco Island. It's a beautiful city. It's a kind of small town feel with big town amenities. Our shopping's great. Our weather's great. Our beaches are stunning. Our sunsets are like an event nightly. I know that's, of course, sunset occurs everywhere nightly, but it's actually an event where people gather on the beach and applaud when the sun sets. Absolutely stunning. Naples has a lot to offer, more than just our beaches. And I would love to share that information.
Yeah, and we'll also make sure that if we do get anything from you that shows the attractions of Naples and Bonita Springs, that you send it our way, and we'll definitely share it with our people.
Sure.
So then they can talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely.
All right, Lori, thanks so much for joining us today. This is Sam with Affluence Real Estate Group, and Lori also as well. We'll make sure that they have your contact information so they know where to find you.
Sounds great, Sam. Thanks so much for reaching out. All right, take care.
You too. Bye.